My name is Meagan Fisher, and today I'm going to show you how to use one of my favorite features in Adobe XD, Auto-Animate within prototypes. This is a project I worked on recently. It's actually a free UI kit I created for Adobe XD, which you can use to design a website for a nonprofit. Here we see the donation form, which has a couple different fields. To get a better look at this form, we can preview the prototype as it is now by clicking this handy play button in the top right corner. Now when I hit the right arrow, you can see all the different states within this form. As you can see, there's a few different states mocked up to show different user options, but this isn't a great way of previewing how these states should transition between one another. So to show how we'd like these interactions to behave, we'll go into Adobe XD's prototyping mode by clicking here. You can see our artboards here, and now when we click on an artboard or an element within the artboard, this little blue bounding box with an arrow appears. You can click on this arrow and draw a line between your element and another artboard. Doing this allows you to set the first element as interactive. It also tells XD that the connected artboard is the state that follows once a user clicks on the first element. Basically, you're saying, when I click on this, show me this. You can set different types of transitions and animation styles for this action, as we can see here in this panel that appears once you've connected your elements. And now I'm going to draw a prototyping line from this call to action back to my original artboard, so the user has a way to return to their previous state if they want to. This will all probably make much more sense once you see it in action, so let's take a look at our prototype with these changes. So as you can see, the user of this form has a choice to enter a custom donation amount, or if they choose, they can enter a set donation amount. By clicking this link, they can expand or collapse the radio buttons, which change to an input field, and vice versa. Now pay attention to the way this transition looks. This is using Adobe XD's default action, which is transition, with an animation style of dissolve. This looks okay, but we can actually do something even cooler. So going back into XD, I'm going to click on my element again and bring up my options panel again. This time I'm going to click in the action dropdown and change my action from the default of transition to Auto-Animate. And I'll do the same thing with my other element that gets the user back to where they started. So let's preview this to see how it looks. You can see that with Auto-Animate as my action, this change is now much more reflective of how I'd want this to look live on the web. Instead of fading in between changes, the form resizes automatically, and elements shift up and down just as they would in the browser. Let's see what this looks like when it's applied to some of the other elements in our form. Here are two radio buttons, which give the user the option to donate monthly or one time. Here I'll click on the deselected radio button and drag my prototyping arrow to the artboard that shows what this looks like when it's selected. You can see here that XD has remembered my choices from the last transition I set up, so it selected Auto-Animation as the action by default. I'm going to apply that same transition to the other radio button, again allowing the user to toggle between the two options. And now, when we preview our prototype again, we can see the Auto-Animate feature in action here. Notice how the active state indicator seems to slide between these two buttons. This is a pretty cool effect and one that's super easy to set up. So now I'm just going to repeat these steps between my other artboards, basically just dragging arrows from clickable elements to the artboards that show their related state. And now, when we preview those auto animations in our prototype, you can see the effect. Again, the active states just slide between those radio buttons in a smooth and easy way. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Please go try this out and let me know what you create. And you can download Adobe XD for free by going to adobe.com/XD.